regression. Okay, we started doing this last time, and we said that uh, we can. So we looked at this, and we said that linear regression seeks to establish association or relationship between two variables. We call the dependent variable and independent variable. Okay, so we're using the independent variable in trying to describe your dependent variable. Notice I didn't say that the independent variable causes the dependent variable. In regression, we're not dealing with causality, but rather association. And there are several ways in order to look at the relationship between two variables. One is by using the covariance and the correlation. Okay, we did that last time. We said that we can determine the covariance and correlation. I think it's here. Covariance and correlation between two variables. Okay, covariance of between x and y. Okay, and the formula is here the cross product of the deviations from the mean. So this is the deviations from the mean, the sum of the deviations. The deviation from the mean is your x sub I, that's the observation in I minus the mean, and then we cross multiply it with the y minus y bar. So in our table, ito yun, di ba? Ito yung x natin sa education kasi gusto nating i-regress si hourly wage on education. Gusto natin makita yung relationship ni hourly wage and education. Sabi natin, one way is to look at the covariance. However, the measure of covariance has its weakness. Kasi sasabihin lang sa atin yan yung direction. Kung positive yung covariance, and ibig sabihin positive yung relationship ng variables natin, in this case, hourly wage and education. But it does not tell us about the magnitude of the relationship. That's why we looked at correlation. No? Sabi natin si correlation, mas magandang measure ng association ng dalawang variables. And how is correlation measured? Si correlation is related to covariance because correlation is simply the covariance and then standardized siya. When I say standardized, it's divided by the product of the standard deviation of x and the standard deviation of y. And we said last time that the correlation measure is just between -1 and 1, where a correlation of 1 means perfect positive correlation, no? And -1 means perfect negative correlation or relationship. And usually guys, ang correlation, it's between those two. So kapag malapit sa 1, kunwari 0.9, 0.8, it means there's a strong positive correlation between the two variables. A strong positive correlation between two variables, positive, ibig sabihin nun, when one variable increases, the other variable also increases. When one variable decreases, the other also decreases. Ang negative naman guys, opposite direction nila. Pag tumataas yung isa, bumababa yung isa. Okay? So that's what we did last time. Now we said that another way to establish a relationship is the use of regression. So si regression guys, gumagamit tayo ng isang regression line. Okay? It's a mathematical equation. Okay? So yung equation natin yan, ito. No? Y sub I, so this is your dependent variable, is equal to a certain constant. This is your intercept plus the slope times your dependent variable. Now, yung hat dito, sabi natin last time, it indicates that this is the predicted value. Kung wala siyang hat, guys, kung hindi siya predicted value, then ang generic equation is equal to y, so walang hat dito, is equal to the intercept plus the slope times your independent variable plus a certain error term. Okay? Kasi guys, hindi eksakto yung ano natin, yung this is our regression value, this is our model, tapos this is the actual value. So may difference yan. No? May difference. Okay, so how do we now determine this line? Kasi pag na-determine natin yung line na yan, okay na tayo. We will now be able to describe your dependent variable, and not only describe but also predict. Diba sabi natin, ano ba gamit ng regression? Para mas maintindihan natin dependent variable as it relates to the independent variable. That's one. And the second one is to be able to predict your dependent variable. So in this case, pwede natin i-predict si hourly wage using education. Okay? Alright. So ang method na ginagamit dyan guys is what we call, sabi natin last time, ordinary least squares. Ano ba yung ordinary least squares? So mag-ano lang ako dito ng new sheet. I'll just show the concept behind an OLS or ordinary least squares. Let me just get the ink. Suppose you have this, no? Sorry for this straight on line natin. No? So you have these points here. This is a scatter plot of your y, which is your dependent variable, and your x, which is your independent variable. Okay, how do you now establish a regression line? No? Yung regression line natin, which is defined as y sub I is equal to, you have a certain intercept plus the slope, okay, plus your error term. Okay? Sabi natin, pag ginagamit natin predicted value mismo, tatanggalin natin yung error term kasi yung predicted value mismo, yun yung value na nanggagaling sa model mismo. Ang question kasi, paano yun, paano natin din na-determine yung regression line na yan? No? Okay. First, guys, there's only one unique regression line given your data points. No? Hindi pa pwedeng more than one regression line. Ibig sabihin, iisa lang to. Unique tong value na to, yung intercept. Unique din tong value ng slope na yan. Unique in the sense that there can only be one and only one value for your intercept and your slope. Okay? Suppose this is your regression line, no? Ito. Yan. Kunyari yan, ano? So this is your y is equal to ito yung regression line natin. Paano na-determine yan? Hindi ba pwedeng ito yan, pag ganon? Hindi pa pwedeng pag ganon? Hindi guys. Hindi. Isang method yung ginagamit, it's called ordinary least squares. Okay? Ang ibig sabihin ng least dito, L-E-A-S-T, squares. Okay, bakit least squares siya? Kasi ang ginagawa dyan guys, you get a point here, actual point here, and then, let's use color green, ito. So, you see the distance, no? The distance between your actual data point, okay, and your regression line. Okay. So this is your distance. When you square this, square natin. No? So for example, this is your E sub 1. Your E sub 1, okay. So bawat yung mga point dito guys, you have several E, no? Residuals or error terms. Yung iba guys, ibang point siguro nasa line mismo, no? Okay? Yung iba medyo malayo, yung iba malapit. Okay? So those are your residuals. Now, kung sinum up natin yung residuals na yan, if you sum that up, okay, what value will you get? Kunyari yan, di ba? May mga residuals yan. Ibig sabihin ng residual, guys, residuals, ibig sabihin yan, yung distance niya from the regression line. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya tumama dun sa model. So may mga residuals tayo yan. So what do you think is the sum of the residuals? The sum of the residuals is always equal to 0. Zero yan, guys. So that's why we don't add the residuals kasi wala tayong information na magagather dyan. Rather, what we do is, we sum up the error squared. Yan. Ini-square natin. Yan. Okay, so you notice that each of the errors are squared, no? Ini-square siya. Pag in-square natin, guys, so magkaka-area siyang ganyan, no? Data, may question yata. Let me pause. Ay, ganun ba? Nag-freeze ba yung screen? Kung nakikita niyo yung Excel, guys, can you see the Excel file? Okay, unmute nga, guys, kung nakikita niyo.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Parang nag-freeze daw, ano? Sige. Let me explain again okay, sige. Explain ko lang kung ano yung... Nag-drawing ako dito, guys. Nakikita yung drawing na to. Can you see the green lines? Okay. Yung mga green lines yan, guys, ano siya? Let me check if you got the explanation. Ano yung mga green lines yan? Unang-una, ano yung red line na to, guys? This is your regression line. Sabi natin, there can only be one regression line. Ibig sabihin nun, ang implication nun, iisa lang yung pwedeng value ng slope at saka ng intercept. Given your data points na y at saka yung x. Okay? You can only have one unique regression line. Sorry. Okay. So, what are these green lines here? Yung red line natin, ito yung regression line, no? Ang question kasi, paano na-derive tong paano nalaman kung ano yung slope at saka intercept na yan? We get these values of slope and intercept using what we call the ordinary least squares method or the method of least squares. Squares, guys, ibig sabihin, if you drop a line from your actual data point to your regression line, okay, sabi natin, pag sinum up natin yung mga residuals na yan, kasi some of the residuals will be above, some of the residuals will be below. Pag sinum up natin yan, it will always be equal to 0. So we don't use the residuals in order to determine the regression line. Rather, we use the squared residuals. Okay, so i-square natin yan. Okay, tapos pag sinum up natin yan, dapat, ano yung nature niya? Dapat, where's my... Dapat, ano siya, guys? It should be, oops. This should be minimum. Yung pinakamaliit na line, guys, yung pinakamaliit na error squared. Okay? Kaya nga, ang tawag sa kanya, guys, least squares. Least squares. Yung line na magbibigay sa atin na pinakamaliit na summation ng error squared. And there can only be one line, guys. Kasi kunyari, just to exaggerate the example, no? What if I have here another line, tapos yung line nandito. Okay? So this cannot be the least square lines, no? Kasi if we plot the residuals, ang lalaki ng distance sila from the regression line. Okay, and it will give us a big error squared, sum of the error squared. So hindi yun yung least. Okay? So yung least squares, guys, allows us to compute for the pinakamaliit na squared residual sum. And then the equation, guys, to do that is this one. In order to get first your intercept, your slope, and then your intercept, you use this. Okay, so sabi natin, ano ba tong formula na to? Okay, so last time, sabi natin, this is actually the same as your covariance. No? it's your covariance. Dito nga lang walang n minus 1 divided by n minus 1. Kasi yung denominator, guys, x minus x bar squared, this is actually your variance, no? If you recall from your statistics, the formula for the variance of x or the covariance of x with x. Take note, the variance of x is just the same as the covariance of x with x. Kasi kinukuha lang natin yung cross product ni x, the deviation ni x with itself. Okay, so this actually cancels out yung n minus 1 na to. And so you're left with this. It's equal to the covariance of x and y divided by the variance of x. Okay, so let's compute for that. Okay, so we need, ang kulang na lang natin, guys, ito, no? Yung deviation ni x squared. Ito yung numerator natin, yung denominator natin. No? So let's do this. So this is equal to x minus x bar squared. You already have x minus x bar. We already have it here, x minus x bar. So square natin siya, this one squared. No? We square that, and then we copy down. Okay, so let me just, okay, bawasan ko na lang ng hindi natin kailangan ng maraming decimal places. So I'll click here, go to home, format painter. Okay. Okay. All right, so we have now here x minus x bar squared. Anong kailangan natin gawin dito, guys? Kailangan natin i-sum up to, no? I-sum up natin siya. So we go here. Let's sum it up. So this is now your x minus x bar squared summation. Any questions, guys? Am I going too fast? Baka may chat. Paki-ano nga, guys, kung clear so far. Okay, thank you, James. Clear ba? Paki-yes lang, guys, kung clear so far. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Actually, guys, this is the long way, ano? Kinukuha natin to kasi para naiintindihan natin kung ano nangyayari. Kasi next term, I'm sure naman na with your performance on here, wala naman siguro sa ating babagsak, hopefully, no? Sa subject na to. And sa totoo lang, guys, wala akong intention na mag-fail ng isa sa inyo. Basta gawin nyo yung mga requirements, okay? Alright, so sana tayo, guys. Okay, we will now solve for the slope, no? Let's now solve for the slope. There are several ways to solve for the slope. Balikan lang natin, guys, muna yung ano natin, yung naalala nyo nag-plot tayo last time. Okay, remember this, guys. When we plotted this and we inputted here the trend line, nakita natin dito na ang slope dito is 0.5414. Tapos quick review, ano ibig sabihin ng 0.5414? This is the marginal effect of your independent variable, okay? For 1 unit change in your independent variable on the dependent variable. So ang interpretation nito, for every 1 unit, ano ba yung unit natin ng education? It's yearly, no? So for every 1 year increase in education, there's a corresponding $0.54, no? Hourly wage increase. And then we have to write there ceteris paribus, which means all things held constant or all things being equal. So 0.5414 is the marginal effect of a 1 unit change in your independent variable on your dependent variable. Okay? Now, isa lang kasi yung independent variable natin. We're only dealing with the simple linear regression. But in reality, guys, it's difficult to just explain a variable using just one. So usually, ang ginagamit, multiple regression where you have several independent variables or explanatory variables. So going back here, we should expect a 0.54 answer here. Okay, so using the formula, guys, and it's equal to the summation of x minus x bar and y minus y bar. Asan ba yun? Okay, asan siya? It's equal to x minus x bar times y minus y bar. Ito yun, di ba? Right? It's here. So we go here. X minus x bar is here. Then it's divided by the sum of your y minus y bar. X minus x bar squared. So that's, so sana ako? Divided by this one. Okay, and then we're getting, like, increase ko lang yung decimal point. And we're getting 0.54, no? Okay. So this is just the same as the one that we asked Excel to generate dito, 0.54, no? Okay, then we can now compute for the slope. Okay, so this is equal to, ang slope natin daw, y bar, which is the average of y. So it's y bar minus, we use the slope, b1 times x bar. That's x bar. So the intercept is negative 0.905, which is the same as this one. Okay? So what's the meaning of the intercept? The intercept, guys, is the value of your hourly wage when your independent variables are all equal to 0. So pag zero out natin yan, guys, matitira negative 0.9. Okay? Now, take note, guys, that the intercept is the value of your hourly wage. It touches the hourly wage, no? Kaso wala naman siya talagang practical meaning, no? Or practical implication kasi hindi naman pa pwede magka-hourly wage na negative. Ibig sabihin ba, yung empleyado pang magbabayad dun sa company. But nevertheless, it's used, guys, to for the model, no? To predict your hourly wage. Okay, so that's our model, guys. Ito. Then another way to get this is equal to slope. Okay, we can use the slope function of Excel. So ang hinihingi dito, ano yung known y's natin at saka ano yung known x. Now, please make sure that you highlight the correct variables. Hindi pa pwede magkabalik yan, guys. Yung y yung dependent natin, yung x yung independent. So si y natin is, ito yung y natin, no? That's our y. Tapos yung x natin is kinapi ko lang siya, papalitan ko lang ng para hindi na ako m. Para hindi na ako mag-drag down. Okay? So, known y's, it's in column n, known x's, column m. So that's our formula. Slope, okay, Control Enter. So let me just increase. All right. And then intercept, guys, we can use the intercept function. Kopyahin ko lang yung dito, yung Control C. So it's equal to intercept Yun din, known y's and known x. Kinopy ko lang guys para mas mabilis tayo. Yeah. So, let's increase the decimal. Exactly the same guys. Huh? Exactly the same. Okay. And I said guys, sabi natin, di ba, itong slope natin is actually your covariance of x and y and the variance of x. So if we use that guys, covariance is to show you covariance of okay, so this is the covariance of hindi ko makita. Dito. So this is the covariance of x and y, but you have to divide it by the what? The variance of x. Control V. And then the variance of x is yung m. Okay, clear to guys. Sabi natin yung slope B1 is equal to the covariance of x and y divided by the variance of x. Control enter. You get the same thing. Or let me just copy this. What we can do is instead of var, we can still use the covariance. No? Control C, Control V, and it should be the covariance of x Okay, sorry for this, guys. Okay, take a look at this formula. This is the covariance of y and x divided by the covariance of x and x. Sabi natin, di ba, ang covariance ni x with x is the same as the variance of x. Okay, so if we do this, wala pa palang equal ako dito, is equal to, alright, so I get the same answer, guys. I get the same answer. Okay, so I hope guys it's clear. Ulitin ko ha. To get the slope guys, you get the covariance of your x and y and divided by the variance of x, which is just the same as getting the covariance of x and y and the covariance of x with itself. Kasi the covariance of x with itself is the variance of x. Okay, so our estimated regression line will be equal to y is equal to, so y is equal to negative 0.905 plus 0.541. I'll just drop the times x education, y r wage. Okay, so this is our regression line, guys. And consistent siya, guys, dun sa mga dito. Okay, so that's our estimated regression line. No? Now take note, guys, what's the minimum value of x? Ano ba yung minimum ng x natin? Copy lang natin dito si x is this one, no? Is equal to mean of x is equal to max of x. Okay, ang minimum minimum value natin sa x is 0. Ibig sabihin there was a respondent there with 0 education, 0 years of education, and then ang maximum natin 18. Okay, therefore, ang relevant range natin, guys, is ito, between 0 and 18. Ano ibig sabihin na to? When we generated this regression line, ito, we were using the values of your independent variables from 0 to 18. Okay? That's why, guys, it's important that when we forecast, kailangan nasa relevant range, no? From minimum equal to 0 to maximum equal to 18. Okay? So, importante alam natin relevant range kasi pag nagpre-predict tayo, dapat close to the relevant range. So we cannot use this model in order to predict what will be the hourly wage when education is equal to, kunyari, 50 or 60. If education is equal to 60, what will be the hourly wage? Oh, masyado na malayo yan, guys, sa relevant range. Kaya hindi natin pwedeng gamitin yon. Kasi hindi natin alam how X will behave if it's way beyond yung 0 to 18, yung relevant range natin. Clear, guys? Pause muna ako, ha? Ulitin ko, ha? So, importante yung relevant range, guys, for forecasting. Kasi kunyari, tinanong kayo, what will be the predicted value of hourly wage if years of education is 60, or 100? Oh, we can no longer, it's not advisable anymore to use this model for prediction kasi malayo na, guys, nun sa relevant range. Pero if it's just close, 19, 20, depende really dun sa data natin. Pero if it's very far, guys, hindi tayo warranted na gamitin yung model na to. So for example, tinatanong, what's the predicted value of hourly wage when X is equal to 18, education is equal to 18? Should we use this model? Yes, kasi it's within the relevant range. So your predicted value is equal to, so that's the slope plus the intercept plus the slope, okay, times 15. Diba? Kasi ang equation natin, negative 0.905, which is this one, plus your slope times education. Education is at 15. Okay, so you have predicted hourly wage is 7.22. Okay, any questions, guys? Clear so far? Paki-chat nga, guys, kung clear so far. Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. Then let's go to the next worksheet, guys. Ito. Punta na tayo, guys, sa simple linear regression. Let's look at question ba? Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys, for your feedback. Okay, by the way, guys, we can also use there's a function in Excel called forecast, no? Okay, yan ito, forecast, ha? Di ba dito, finorcast natin yung value ni y if x is 15. So here you can do this, forecast that exponential ETS exponential yata to, no? So let's use linear. Kasi linear naman tayo, or the old function, yung forecast ni Excel. Pero yung bago, pag may nakita kayong triangle nito guys, ibig sabihin yung legacy pa yan, yung dating function pa yan. Pero gumagana pa rin yan. So let's use this. So ano ba yung mga kailangan? X, known Y's, known X's. Okay? So ano ba yung pinapa-forecast sa atin? Forecast the value of Y when X is 15. Yan, X is 15. And then known Y's, nakuha ko ito ba? Okay, known Y's is N. 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 Okay, so you can also use this function, forecast that linear. Okay, so your X value is 15, and then your known Y is N22 and 527, and this is your known X. Okay, so when we perform this, okay, so it's exactly the same, guys. I can increase the decimal place. So pareho. Okay, any questions so far, guys? Okay, wala naman yata. Okay, now let's go to the next worksheet. Okay, thank you, Stephen. Okay, let's first generate, no? Let's use, gamitin natin guys yung Excel, gamitin natin dito naman si X real stat, no? Okay, first let's use the data analysis toolpack kay Excel, and then we'll generate also the output here in X real stat. Okay, how do we generate the regression output using Excel? Okay, ito yung data natin again, ano? Okay. Mamaya titingnan natin to. Okay, kasi we're going to use it to determine the SST, SSR, SSE, which are very important in order to understand yung regression. Okay, so you go to data. Ang gagawin natin guys dito, i-generate natin yung regression output kasi Excel can generate very important statistics using the data analysis toolpack for regression. So how do we do that? Go to data, data analysis here. And then itong data analysis natin guys, so there are several functions here. May ANOVA, correlation, covariance, descriptive stat, and then going below we have here regression. Okay, so yeah, let's use this regression, then okay. So ito yung dialog box na dapat natin i-fill up. Ano daw yung input range? Ano yung Y range? So we know that Y is the dependent variable, which is your hourly wage. Okay. So here it's B2 up to B527. Sa X naman, so we go here. So si A naman si XA2. Okay, sige, pause muna ako para masundan nyo. Okay, now, sorry dapat pala isama natin si B1. Isama natin guys yung label, yung variable name. We'll include the variable name. Okay, para sa mga reports, kasama yung mga names na to. Then, sasabihin na, ano natin na may label siya. Okay, the confidence level is a default at 95%. And then dito tinatanong, saan nyo gustong ilagay yung, yung output? Where do you want to put to place the output? Okay, let's put it here. Dito na lang natin ilagay dito. Here. Okay, at Y2. And then may iba pang hinihingi dito, no? Residuals, residual plots. Okay, so pwede natin yan. Residuals, residual plots, and normal probability plots. Okay. That is standardized residuals. Ito lang muna yung tatlong to. Okay, so pause muna ako, guys. Okay. Then, questions? Okay, so click OK. There. Okay, so you have the two plots, you have the residual output, and you have the probability output. Tingnan natin guys yung output natin dito. So you have three outputs here guys in Excel. You have the regression statistics, you have the analysis of variance, ANOVA, and then you have the individual parameter outputs. Ito yung intercept, ito yung education. So very quickly, let's take a look at this. Multiple R, guys, is your, ano to, guys? Recall this. This is your, what we're doing now, guys, is looking at the quote-unquote anatomy of this regression output. Kailangan na iintindi natin to guys yung laman nito. No? This is your, ano tong 0.4, ano tong multiple R? This is your correlation to, di ba? This is your correlation, guys. Okay, that's your correlation. Okay, prove lang natin, no? Ito, maglagay lang tayo dito guys ng correlation output. Sige, gawin natin ha. Data analysis, because you can also make use of the correlation here, correlation. So ano daw yung input Y range natin? Input range. Input range natin kasi hinahanap natin correlation ni education at saka hourly wage. Okay? So hinighlight ko yung labels in first row. Output range, saan ko siya linalagay? Dito na lang. Para katabi. Yan. Okay? Alright. Take a look at this, guys. This is the correlation output. No? Okay. So the correlation of education with education is of course 100%. Perfect collinear yan eh kasi it's the same variable. Hourly wage also with hourly wage is this one. Ang correlation ni hourly wage at saka ni education is 0.405. No? And ito, equal lang dito yan. No? Correlation education and hourly wage is the same as hourly wage and education. No? Okay? So we showed that last time, di ba? Ito. Saan ba natin pinakita yan? We were doing correlation. Ito, no? This one. Napakita na natin to last time, di ba? Correlation siya. No? Okay? And then this, what's this, guys? What's this? This is your R squared. No? Ano ibig sabihin ng R squared, guys? This is how powerful your model is in explaining your dependent variable. Ano ibig sabihin ng 164 na yan? And actually, we have that here. Di ba? Naalala nyo to? Yung pinat natin siya, this one, 16.48. Di ba? This is your R squared. Or that's your what? That's your, ano yung pangalan niyan, guys? Naalala niyo yung pangalan? What name did we give it? This is your, guys, anong pangalan ng R squared? You recall? R squared is your coefficient of determination. Coefficient of determination, guys. So ano ibig sabihin yan? 16.48% of the variability of your dependent variable, hourly wage, can be explained by the independent variable education. So 16.48% ang kayang i-explain ni education dun sa variability ni hourly wage, no? So education can explain 16.48% of the variability of your hourly wage. Okay, guys, clear? So yung natitira, yung 83%, more than 83%, hindi kayang i-explain ni ni education. So dapat may iba pang variables na pwedeng gamitin para mag-explain yan, no? Now this is called your adjusted R squared. Okay, saka na natin i-explain to, no? Now this is useful, guys, for multiple regression. Ang adjusted R squared ginagamit para i-penalize tayo kung marami tayong ilalagay na na independent variables. Kasi pwedeng salpak na lang tayo ng salpak ng independent variables na wala naman actually explanatory power. So that's why in multiple regression ang ginagamit adjusted R squared, not R squared. Okay? Standard error is just like the standard deviation of your model, no? How far away your model is from the real value. And this is equal to, dito natin nakukuha yan, guys, no? It's from here. It's the square root of mean square residual. Okay, so ano ko lang, pakita ko lang, ha? Saan ba ilalagay yan? So dito na lang, is equal to square root of your mean square residual. Ito. Okay? So parang standard deviation yan ng model natin. So the lower the standard error, the better. Kung mataas yung standard error, ibig sabihin, marami tayong forecasts or predictions or values ng malayo dun sa actual value. Okay? Observations, guys, this is just the count. Kung ilan yung data natin, count of observations, count ng data natin. Any questions so far, guys? Chat nga kung okay so far. Okay, thanks, James. The rest? Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, so that's the first part, yung summary output natin. So, it's important guys that we understand everything here, no? Sa regression output na to. Okay, next, yung ANOVA natin, analysis of variance. This is your analysis of variance, okay? Or this is your goodness of fit test. Goodness of fit test. Okay, ano naman to guys? Ano yung ANOVA natin, analysis of variance or goodness of fit test? Okay, dito tinitingnan natin guys kung overall okay ba yung model natin, significant ba yung model natin. Okay, just so happen na iisa lang yung independent variable natin, no? But we're asking here, inaano natin dito, overall ba okay yung model natin? So may null hypothesis dito guys. Ang null hypothesis natin dito is, okay, kasi iisa lang yung ano natin, no? B1, okay, sama natin si intercept B0 is equal to B1 is equal to 0. Ang sinasabi natin dito, lahat ng parameters natin is equal to 0. Anong ibig sabihin ng is equal to 0? Ibig sabihin hindi siya significant. Kasi kung 0 yung slope natin, edi ibig sabihin nun, wala tayong model. Diba? Okay, let me go back to our equation. Ano ba yung equation natin guys? Diba, sabi natin y is equal to beta null plus beta 1 is equal to x. If this is 0, and this is 0 then, o di wala tayong model guys. We can't use x as our independent variable in order to describe our dependent variable. So, wala tayong model. We don't have a regression model. Okay, so ito yung tinitingnan natin dito. Alright. Okay, so we have the degree of freedom here. Okay. Itong degree of freedoms, very important to kasi ito yung gagamitin natin para malaman tong, begin with the end in mind guys, para malaman natin kung okay ba yung ano natin, if we will reject this null hypothesis or fail to reject this. Kailangan natin si F, no? Kailangan natin yung p-value na to. This is your p-value. P-value. Paano natin makukuha si p-value? Manggagaling yan kay FSTAT. Paano natin makukuha si FSTAT? Manggagaling yan guys dito sa MSR over MSE. Dito yan. Kailangan natin dito yan. Paano natin makukuha to? Kailangan natin si sum of the squares of your regression at saka sum of the squares of your residual. Okay? Tapos kailangan din natin degree of freedom. Okay, very quickly guys, tingnan natin to ha. Dapat familiar tayo dito. Yung regression natin guys, that comes from your predicted value. Si residual guys, that comes from your error terms. Ibig sabihin, yung difference between your actual value and your predicted value or regression model. So here, tatawagan natin siyang SSR. Para dito, no, sum of the squares to eh. Sum of the squares. And this one, we're going to call it SSE. Sum of the squares of your regression, ito yun. Sum of the squares of your residual. Okay. Yung degree of freedom ng regression natin, insert tayo ng comment dito. Insert comment. This is actually equal to df1. Okay. Kasi tingnan nyo guys, sa analysis of variance, sa dalawa yung degree of freedom natin, df1 at saka df2. Yung df1 will be for your regression, and this is equal to number of regressors or IV natin. No? Ilan ba yung independent variable natin? Okay guys, ilan yung independent variable natin? Di ba si education lang? Kaya 1 yan. No? Okay, so the degree of freedom for your regression is the number of independent variables. Lagi yun, guys. Kaya 1 to. How about itong sa residual, guys? This will be your df2. Okay, this is for your residual, and it's equal to n minus k minus 1. Where k is your number of IVs. Okay, kung ilan yung IVs natin, guys, yun ang k natin. Okay, so in fact, this is your edit comment. This is equal to your k. Others call it k, others call it q. So how did you get this, guys? Ilan ba yung n natin? 526, di ba? Ito. Edit natin to. So this is equal to, therefore df2 is equal to, n is your number of observations, 526, diba? Minus, ilan yung k natin? Number of independent variables, isa lang siya, sa education lang, minus 1 is equal to 524. Para sa yung minus 1? The minus 1 there is to account for your intercept. Kasi nawawalan tayo ng degree of freedom ng isa because we have to estimate the intercept. Okay, clear to, guys? Total is just your n minus 1. Okay, this is 526 minus 1, so 525. Okay, clear, guys? Clear ba? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so dapat alam natin guys yung degree of freedom na yan, ha? So kunyari, you have a multiple linear regression, tapos 10 yung predictor, 10 yung independent variables nyo, 10 yung lalabas dito. Tapos itong residual natin degree of freedom, it will be n minus 10 minus 1. Kung ilan man yung ano. Okay? And then ito, guys, this is your SSR, SSE, and your SST. Okay? Sum of the squares to. SS refers to sum of the squares. Okay, I already wrote the formula here. SSR, sum of the squares due to regression. SSE, sum of the squares due to errors. And SST, sum of the squares due to total. Okay, so these are the formulas. Take note, guys, sum of the squares. Okay, sum of the squares. Di ba ini-square siya? Okay, tingnan mo natin, guys, itong ano. Sum of the squares of your... So let's complete this table in order to better appreciate this, better understand this. Okay. So di ba, guys, meron tayong ito yung independent variable natin, ito yung dependent variable natin. So magkre-create tayo, guys, ng model, regression model. Alam natin na ang ginagamit ni Excel is OLS, ordinary least squares. So out of these two variables, guys, this is your independent and this is your dependent, we can have your predicted model. Yung predicted model natin, di ba, based siya on your regression line, which is negative 0.90 plus 0.54x x education, no? Tapos di ba, sabi natin, pwede nating i-compute na kagad yan, okay? So last time we used the forecast function. This time, let's use another function. We call it the trend, no? So si trend din, guys, sabi dito, returns numbers in a linear trend matching known data points using the least squares method. Okay, so the trend gives us the predicted value. In other words, ito yung values na nasa line. Okay? So let's compute for this. Ano ba yung known Ys natin? Ang known Ys natin is hourly wage. Okay? Then i-fix natin to kasi ikakopy natin yung formula down. Ang known X's natin is education. Okay, fix din natin. Sino yung new X natin? Okay, this is our new X, yung actual natin na education. Okay, and then comma. Constant, ano dito? Isa-set ba natin si intercept equal to 1? No, we want the intercept to be computed normally. So magto-true tayo dito. Okay, true tayo dito guys kasi gusto natin yung intercept, yung B null, will be computed na normally, hindi siya gagawing equal to 1. Okay, so control enter. So this is now our predicted value. Yeah. Alright, then copy down. So ito na guys yung mga predicted value natin dun sa dun sa ordinary least squares line, your regression line. Ito na yung mga predicted values natin given your X values. Okay, any questions guys? Pakita ko itong formula. Or of course, you can also use the, lakihan ko lang ha. You could have used also the, the forecast function. So here we're using the trend function in Excel. Okay, may I proceed guys? Paki-yes lang o no dito. May I proceed? May I proceed guys? Okay. Okay, thank you. Alright, so itong guys yung predicted value natin, di ba? Okay, thank you. Ito guys yung ito yung values na ginamit natin yung equation na yung regression line natin. And you notice that hindi siya pareho dun sa actual value. So meron tayong residual, no? Okay, kasi ito yung predicted model natin, ito yung value ng y natin. Okay, given na ang x natin is 11. Notice may quote-unquote discrepancy siya, no? Kasi hindi naman talaga lahat ng points that nasa regression line natin. So that's why we have this residual which is equal to, diba? Your actual minus your predicted. Yan. Natin na isang decimal point. Okay? And then, so these are now your residuals. Okay, yung iba maliliit lang yung residual, ibig sabihin malapit siya dun sa actual. Yung iba medyo medyo malalaki, katulad nito. Ang actual 8.77, tapos ang predicted 5.59. Ito malaki oh. Ang actual 22, ang predicted 5.59. Kasi yung nature ng plot natin yan guys eh. Naalala yung plot natin. Okay. Ganyan ito oh, di ba? Ito guys yung regression line natin. Okay? Yung mga predicted values nandito sa regression line. And then we're now comparing it with ito yung actual value, tapos ito yung value ng predicted value natin na nasa line guys. So may malaking tayo dito, residual, no? Baka ito yung 16. I don't know, no? Okay? Then going back here guys. Now just to check, alam niyo pag sinum-up natin tong residuals, alt equal to, pag sinum-up natin residuals na yan, 0 yan. Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. No? Yan ang nature guys ng regression line. Pag kinuha natin yung deviation of the actual points to the regression line, then sinum up natin lahat ng residuals na yan, 0 ang kakalabasan yan. Parang average siya, di ba? Parang average. Okay. Then let's go here, guys. Okay. First is, ano tong y minus y bar na to? Y minus y bar. Yung difference, guys, ng actual dun sa average. Kasi yung, kunyari, hindi natin gagamitin si x as a regressor. Okay, so how do we forecast y kung wala tayong independent variable? E di i-average lang natin siya, no? So kung kukunin natin yung difference ng actual dun sa average, then we square it and then we sum it up. Ang tawag dyan, SST, total sum of the squares. So let's get SST, guys. Your SST is equal to the actual minus the average. No? So kunin muna natin yung average dito. Lagyan natin dito yung mga count anywhere here. So, ginawa na natin to, guys, last time. That's why hindi na ako masyado nagbabagal dito. Okay? And then x bar is simply the average. It's equal to average ni, ano ba si x? This is just the average of x. Copying ko na lang to. And then, para mas mabilis, b, no? Average ni y yan. This is the average of y. Okay? And then yung slope, guys, nakumpita natin dati to, slope. Known y, si b. B and A. No? Known y's, nasa column B, si hourly wage. And then X is A. And then the intercept, di ba? Intercept. Copy ko na lang tong intercept. Okay. Oops. Namali. B2 kulang ng 7. Okay, negative. Okay. All right. So we're now ready to compute for SST, SSR, and SSE. Si SST, guys, that's your total variance, no? Ang total variance natin will be yung actual minus the mean squared. Kasi pag mina-minus natin sa mean, ibig sabihin, guys, hindi natin ginagamit si x. Hindi natin ginamit sa x, si independent variable in order to predict y. Ang ginamit lang natin si average. So this will be equal to yung actual y natin minus the average y. Okay. Fix natin to and then square natin. Ilan tayo? Dalawang decimal places. Okay, and then okay. And then we add this. It's equal to sum okay, 7160. That's the total sum of the squares. Tingnan natin guys kung pareho dito ha. Ayan no, 7160, di ba? Pareho si SST, 7160. Okay, so this validates guys yung goodness of fit test natin. Then we have sum of the squares of your regression. Ano naman si regression guys? What will be the sum of the squares of your regression? Ito si regression guys. So it's the regression predicted value minus the average. In other words guys, in-improve natin yung model natin. Dati average lang, naging naging yung predicted value. So the difference between your predicted value and your average is equal to the improvement in your model, which is the sum of the squares of your regression. Okay, so let's do that. Y hat, diba? Minus y bar. So this is equal to your predicted value, okay, minus the average y bar, F4, and then we square this, Control Enter. Kontialan natin ang decimal place. Then copy down, and then we sum this up. It's equal to sum control backspace 1180. Tama ba? 1180 guys, no? Naka-round off lang siya. Dagdagan natin ng ng ano to. Okay, so it's exactly the same. And lastly, we have the sum of the squares of your error terms. So itong residuals guys, ito yung hindi kayang i-explain ng model natin. So it's a difference between your actual data point minus your predicted value. Okay? So ito yun guys, no? May predicted na tayo dito, di ba? May residual na tayo. So, ito lang, yung residual, squared lang to. Yung residual, di ba yung difference between your actual and your predicted value? So that's your residual. And we need to square that kasi kailangan natin. Ito ngayon yung SSE. Pag sinamap natin yan. Oops. The decimal place naman. Okay? So your SSE is now sum of the squared residuals. Okay, 5980.68. Okay, pareho ba guys? 5980.68. Okay, pause muna ako guys. Any questions so far? Naintindihan ba? So far, clear naman. I would appreciate your feedback. Any questions, guys? Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. So we were able to show, guys, kung saan nanggaling tong SSR na to, SSE, and SST. Okay, ito yung definition niya, guys, ha? SST is the sum of the squared deviations of your actual from the average. Si SSR naman is the sum of the squared deviations of your predicted value minus your average. So si predicted, minus natin si average. Yun ang SS regression natin. Yung residual natin, yung error term natin will be the sum of the squared deviations between your actual minus your predicted. Ito yung hindi na-capture na variance. Ito yung total variance. Okay? So this is your total variance. Tingnan nyo ha. Total variance to. And then, gumamit tayo ng regression. Ito yung na-explain ng regression natin. That's your explained variance. Tapos ito naman yung unexplained variance, yung hindi na kaya ng model natin, ng predicted model. Okay? So, Okay, we now go here, guys. We can now compute for your, okay, naalala niyo itong coefficient of determination na to? Before that, guys, what do you notice about the relationship between SST, 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 tapos SSR, tsaka SST? Ano relationship nila? Ang relationship nila, guys, total variance is equal to, yan. Ang total variance is equal to the variance that has been explained, yung regression natin, plus the variance that was not explained, yung residual natin. Okay? Is that clear, guys? So, kamayin ko to. So we know that, so dito sa ilalim, SST, sum of the squares of your total is equal to sum of the squares of your regression plus sum of the squares of your error terms. Now, if we divide this by SST, so if I divide everything by SST, divide by SST, what happens now? So SST divided by SST is equal to 1, and then SSR over SST plus SSE over SST. Okay. Now, itong SSR over SST na to, di ba regression to, di ba? Okay. So this was the proportion that was explained. Ito yung explained variance eh. And this is actually equal to your R squared. Remember, coefficient of determination, the percentage, the proportion of the variability of your dependent variable, which can be explained by your independent variable. This is now your unexplained. Okay? Unexplained variance na yan. So let's compute that now, guys. So your R squared, this is your coefficient of determination, it's equal to yung regression, yung na-explain, divided by the total variance. Okay? Does this look familiar? Guys, does this look familiar? Di ba ito yung ano? 16.45 ito. That's your R squared, no? 16.47 pala, no? That's your coefficient of determination. Now there's also a function in R called RSQ. No? Okay, kunyari hindi mo pa nako-compute si SSR tsaka si SST. Pwede mong gamitin to sa RSQ. No? And ano lang yan, known y's over known x. Kunin ko lang dito para Control C. R squared. Yan. Known y's, known x's. Oops, ano nangyari? May kulang akong 7 dito. Okay. Alright, or we can get it is equal to 1, di ba? 1 minus, ito kasi SSR over SST is 1 minus SSE over SST. No? 1 minus SSE, yung unexplained. Okay? The explained variance is equal to 100% minus the unexplained. Yan, pare-pareho lang siya. From the R squared, guys, makukuha nyo si correlation. So this is equal to square root of your R squared. Okay. Or, alam natin to, correl lang to, no? Yan, your X and Y. Kulang na naman ng 7. Alright, so it's almost time, guys. So ito sinasabi nito, no? So just read through this. Okay, and then we'll so lastly guys, ito, no? Tapusin lang natin tong ANOVA guys. So you have your SSR, SSE, and SST. Now this is your MSR and MSE. Your MS guys, this one is simply, comment, insert comment. This is just your SSR divided by your degree of freedom 1. So dinivide lang natin si SSR by your degree of freedom 1. Okay, so that's 1. This divided by this will give you this. Ganun din to guys. Insert comment. This will be your SSE, SSE divided by your degree of freedom 2. Okay. So this divided by this will give you this one. And your FSTAT will be, insert comment, this will be your MSR divided by MSE. So this divided by this will give you this. Okay, so this brings us to the last one guys, itong significance of F. Sabi ko diba, when the P is low, the null must go. Okay, when the P is low, the null must go. What is low guys? Ang low will be, depende dun sa level of significance natin. Usually your level of significance, which is your alpha, is equal to, usually ang ginagamit, 0.05. Okay. Ano ba yung ano natin? Ano yung p-value natin, guys? So you compare p-value with your alpha. What's our p-value? This is 0.0000, 21 zeros bago papasok si 278. No? So that's practically 0 and it's lower than 0.05. Therefore, ano yung conclusion natin? Reject HO. Okay? Reject HO that B0 is equal to B1 is equal to 0. There is strong statistical reason to believe that at least one of these is not 0. So that's our conclusion, guys. Rine-reject natin si null hypothesis na B0 is equal to B1 is equal to 0. Ibig sabihin, wala tayong model. So may model tayo. Pwede natin gamitin tong model na to. Okay? So next meeting guys, tapusin natin to. Okay, i-upload ko na guys. Sorry, gagamitin ko na lang ginamit namin sa FINSTAD para mag-advance kayo for Wednesday. Kasi ito yung first few weeks namin na lesson, which is our last week dito. Kasi applied regression ngayon sa FINSTAD. No? So I'll post it and then pakipanood nyo yun guys kasi tinutuloy na dito yon, tuloy na dito at saka gagamitin na yung X-Real Stat. No? So I hope guys Wednesday, hopefully napanood nyo na rin yun, ano, yung dalawang videos na ipopost ko. Ito at saka yung continuation, actually tatlo nga eh. At saka yung ano, at saka yung paggamit ng R. Siyempre gagamit tayo ng R guys. Hindi natin pwedeng gamitin yung R. All right? So thank you so much guys. Thank you for your time. I'll stop recording.